good evening, and welcome to Being Black and Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. This is Angie, the undeniable vixen, your host, and I got a crazy, funky fro here, but have a great guest. But let's go ahead and start with. So one thing that we have that saw when I was scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, minding my business, loving Jesus like I do, we have 3 days left for Joy Hound Beer Company. They're doing Main Vest, and they have 3 days left for you to invest into their tap room. Please go to their Instagram, Joy Hound Beer Co., and it will be in the link for Main Vest. And of course, no donation is too small, and we need to go ahead and support. I've seen other people supporting this venture, and Joy Hound has some great beers. I've had them before. They're really great and great people. Another thing that I saw, I didn't know, maybe I'm late to the party. I'm not really sure, but Jamie Foxx has a brown bourbon or brown sugar bourbon. And I actually had it when I went to a whiskey bar maybe like a week or so ago. I did not know that he was the person that was behind it. So I'm wondering how people feel about this. Yet another celebrity putting their name to getting product. You know, how much are they influenced? You know, we have Rick Ross, we have a couple of basketball stars, we have Matthew McConaughey, and to be quite frank, hadn't always been all that great. It really hasn't. The name and just a little bit of, hey, it sounds like a good deal. The only one that I really feel like I'm intensely and acutely waiting for is Fantasia, because she took the time out to learn to be a sommelier. So when her wine comes out, I know that she did the due diligence. And that's what I would really like for some of these celebrities, not necessarily looking at the bottom line as far as how much it's going to bring them in cash flow by putting their name to it, but make a decent product, please. But the BSB was okay. It was a little sweet for my taste. I really do like liquor, so don't account for me. But if you like something on a little bit of a sweeter side, that might be something for you. That BSB. Then one of the last things that I saw was just kind of interesting. We are going into beer and whiskey. So this came up on my timeline looking at the different Samuel Adams, UFO, Spencer's. There's probably some other ones that you are familiar with as far as your beers, and they are being matched with whiskeys. Myself, I like to double fist it and have a little bit of liquor with my whiskey or a little whiskey with my beer. Again, I'm not real sure about this one. I'll happily taste it for free, but I don't think I'm going to be scouring the shelves to get some Samuel Adams American whiskey, especially with the process that they have started, which is very minuscule as far as like the aging. It's not real long. It's not even a year. It's just like a couple of months. It's not a long time. And that's going to be really, really hot, hot on the tail whiskey that, no, I'm not, I'm cool on that. But check those out. We are almost to the deadline. It is almost time. I'm flying out on this coming Friday, and I hope to see y'all at CBC. Hope to see y'all at the CBC Tap Takeover. There's CBP. There's Beers for Everyone. It's also having an event. All kinds of things every single freaking night. There is something going on. So I hope to see you there. So I think those are all of my church announcements. I believe that's all my church announcements. So let me go ahead and bring up our guest. Hey, Jen.
Hey girl.
How are you?
Hey girl. Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. So
Yeah.
it is that time again. And
Girl, ain't
usually,
it?
usually I'm like trying to figure out what am I going
Whew.
what I'm gonna bring, what kind of beer I'm gonna bring, what am I gonna do? It is Crafted for Action,
It
the
is.
woman behind the movement.
Hey.
Let that sink in. So this
Yeah.
is this is what this is going to be the third year or fourth
This
year.
is the fourth year.
Yeah.
Fourth year. You've been down since day one. You were A1 since day one. 4 years, second year in person, like full conference in person. But
Okay.
yeah, like the full manifestation of what I thought of as a conference. This is the second year of us being able to do that. So
That's
yeah.
just amazing. So I have a couple of questions, and we're going to play a couple of games as well.
Uh-oh. Okay, I love it.
So one thing I'm wondering, let me first ask you, what are you drinking? What's
I'm
your
drinking
age right now?
something very light. Prior to coming on, you were talking about something big you had over there, and I went the
Yeah.
opposite direction. I'm drinking Reformation's Alani. It is wine inspired sour ale brewed with grape, apple, cranberry, and hibiscus, and it's 4.7%. Really pretty, kind of pinkish color.
Hmm.
Using my Our Culture glass, but just very easy, light. Uh, I have a lot of work to do tonight, so I was like, let me start really low,
And
really low.
y'all had your anniversary party this yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
it was on Saturday. So
Oh,
that's the
Saturday.
other reason
Okay.
why I'm drinking low alcohol. I just need to recuperate because I went
Hmm.
I had such a good time at the anniversary and then went out with some friends yesterday and I was like, I need to just chill out today a little bit. Probably a good
Yeah.
idea.
Just to
Hydrate.
let y'all know, I actually had a beer that was 11.3, and I have another meeting after this. There was no way I was gonna be bye-bye during the interview. That's 11.3, but it sounded
Oh my
amazing.
God.
But it sounds like a nice weekend beer. So
Exactly.
I went back and got a Carbach Love Street Blondes. So this is nice and light.
Nice.
I don't think it's 4.9. So
There you go.
I can manage this one.
Yes, you can. We in the same neighborhood tonight.
So, okay, I know, because we've had you on the show several times, and
Thank you.
we talked about at Atlanta Boutique and how that transformation came up into Craft for Action. So, I think that it it would be remiss of me not to ask you some tips or some thoughts that you may have as
Mm,
far as like bouncing back. How do
mm.
you bounce back? What are some tips that you can give us?
Whew. I think the thing that probably carried me most during that period, because you're right, it was a slow bounce back, but it was a bounce back, so I'm going to claim that. But it was, I put so much like into the process of trying to open up the shop and it not happening because of the pandemic and other factors, but mainly the pandemic. I think kind of revisiting that space of like transparency was helpful for me. So I tried to continue to talk about the downs, which I and everyone was experiencing in 2020, and that really was helpful for me, just being open again, because I think our online craft community has always been so just welcoming and warm and thoughtful, and I don't know, I found some comfort in doing that. And I also found comfort in like just being honest with myself, because I knew that there was going to be a time where I had to make a decision. I couldn't like, um I was belaboring the decision to not to no longer pursue the shop.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big decision to make, right? Because I put so
Yeah.
much time and money into it, and I was like, well, maybe the pandemic, maybe this thing isn't going to last for long, and we all saw how long that was a lie. But it took me a minute to really like be honest with myself. Like, you know what? You got to make a decision. Are you going to, drain your savings? Do you want to rethink this whole thing? Is this a good time to really like be introspective and be honest about like what to do? And I read a book, I can't remember the name of it, but it was about knowing when to quit. And that
Mm.
quitting is not giving up, is not a failure, it is not,
Mm.
it doesn't have to be seen as a negative thing. It can be very much a self-preservation act, and an act of, self-sufficiency and standing
And
up for you
liberating.
and liberating. And when I just,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, that's the best word, Angie, because when I decided, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, a weight lifted off from my shoulder and I felt
Mhm.
definitely liberated. So I think the key, those are probably the two keys to bouncing back, is just transparency, open honesty, and then and having that same kind of honesty with yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's really good.
That's
Um,
good. That shit was hard, shout. It was hard.
I know it was. I know it was.
Mhm.
Because it was just like, with having people come in like, hey, when is it gonna? Because I do that. I do that now, or I think about it with people who have breweries and planning,
Yeah.
and just here we have Smidox Kumba, and
Mhm.
he has going through all this red tape, and in between him trying to open up, two more breweries closed.
Mm. It's scary.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's like, what do you do? How do you pivot, and how do
Mhm.
you know keep keep the resilience of your passion?
Mhm.
So yeah, I get that. um I was wondering, um let me go ahead and play one game with you real quick.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, this where we going? Okay, let's go.
married, death, killed. So it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be
Okay.
easy. You're not gonna have to worry about nobody calling you later on or
Okay,
nothing.
good. Good, good, good. Okay.
So, married, death, kill. Lemon pepper wet, Atlanta housewives, going to Stone Mountain.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can kill that going to Stone Mountain. Absolutely. That's an easy one. Mary Lemon Pepper Wet.
Mm.
I'm
Now,
sorry.
why?
That's my lifelong boo. My lifelong love.
Okay.
Lemon Pepper Wet is chef's kiss. Favorite wings. That's what I always get. I used to when American Deli first opened, which is like one of the go-to wing spots here in Atlanta. When they first opened their first location, it was in my neighborhood. I was in high school.
Mhm.
That was my first time like really like having wings like that. And I used to get mild with lemon pepper sprinkle. But
Mm.
then I started just doing the lemon pepper wet with the wings fried crispy.
Mhm. Just
It's so good.
a whole new
It
world.
is. It's so good. And I tried to make some a few weeks ago, trying to be like on the healthy side. They weren't hitting on it.
Yeah.
They weren't hitting on it. They gotta be fried hard, drenched in lemon pepper.
And
Yum.
see, and of course, you probably would be ready to go like, ooh, because the only thing we have is like wing stop. We don't have
Okay.
like a pepper, like, I mean, a wing like joint, not
Yeah.
anywhere
Like a
near.
local.
Yeah, like like I know I got the greasy bag. I know it's
Yeah.
gonna be good. I know
Yeah.
there's chicken places like that, but none that
Okay.
does the lemon pepper or even I don't think if I said lemon pepper wet, they was like, you've been watching too much TV.
You've been watching too much. Yep. Atlanta TV.
But I know it exists.
You
I know
know it
it exists.
exists. Now, did you get some that one year you
I
came?
did.
Yes. Yes. I
Yes,
try to
I
make sure
did.
everybody gets them when they come to Atlanta, at least one
Yes,
helping.
yes, I did. I did. Um, let me see. So I want to change gears. I
Yeah.
want to see if you the last kind of update because I actually did a blog about it with the Senate bill
Mm,
and how it was pertaining to alcohol sales or beer sales and distribution. So
mm-hmm.
I know that the bill didn't pass.
Mm-hmm.
What's been going on with it? Do you have any updates?
Well, they're out of session now. Legislative session here ended March 31st.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, you're right. It didn't pass this year. I feel like every year our guild is doing a better and better job of advertising not only the need for an update in our legislation, but galvanizing our support at the Capitol. This year, they actually had Joseph Cortez, who's the director, executive director of the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild, planned a day at the Capitol where he brought
Mhm.
out people in the beer industry, brewers, COOs, CEOs, bloggers, influencers, folks who are in Atlanta, Georgia, really beer scene, and had them at the Capitol to actually see the process and for the
Mhm.
folks at the Capitol to see us. Um,
Right.
I think that that's a big part of passing legislation, really is like relationship building and showing people at the Capitol the face behind these bills and the face behind
Mhm.
um, the change that we're seeking. It also, in him doing that, has educated so many of us on how hard he works for us, how hard he and Ashley work at the Capitol, and how hard it is really to convince folks to
Mhm.
even support and back the bill. So during the down times, some of the things that he's been talking about and that a lot of us are kind of trying to get more active doing is keeping those relationships when they're out of session and doing a better job of telling the story of craft breweries. And I think a good idea is to position them as small businesses. We know they're small businesses, but I think,
Mhm.
I don't know, Georgia and the South is real funny with alcohol, and you know how it is. You're in a
Mhm.
Bible Belt state too, but
Yeah.
and so there's always a little bit of worry there, I think, or a little hesitation there for people to support it. But I think folks really need to understand that craft breweries are small businesses. They're very often run by husband and wife, or three
Mhm.
friends, or homies from college, and you're just like, it's a side hustle, you're scrappy, you're trying to get this thing started, and it really does hamstring them from making a good amount of money if they cannot self-distribute except for to a certain amount. And that's what the bill was about. It's
Mhm.
really about increasing that limit, because in Georgia, can't tell you the exact numbers right now, but it is relatively low. We have the 3-tier system, which of course means that you have to sell your beer, your product, to a distributor in order to have it on the shelves, to have it on taps at a restaurant, to donate to a charity. You have to go through that 3-tier system, which means the distributor, the warehouse, gets a big cut. And then
Mhm.
what you get back off of it is such a small margin. So it would be very helpful if a brewery could self-distribute, meaning they could cut out that middleman. And
Yeah.
they're not going to get, overwhelmingly rich by doing that. The distributors are not going to go out of business. So I don't
Mhm.
understand really like what the challenge is and what the worry is. It's, to me, it feels greedy. It feels also like a power move and just really unfair to these small businesses.
It definitely sounds really, really greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it it's not going to do anything different for their bottom line because
Mm-mm.
they're still going to have the the Molson Courses of the world and all the others that they have.
Exactly.
Um, it wouldn't it,
Exactly.
it wouldn't do it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
It's not going to. And you know this because you work in the spirits world. The margins on beer are so much smaller. They're
Mm-hmm.
not getting rich off that anyway. You can
Not at
still,
all.
you still got all those spirits brand, those wine brands that they're making
Mhm.
all that money off of. So it just
Yeah.
it's awful. It's
So
awful.
when they went, and I know, and I'm thinking about us being in the Bible Belt of what have you. And I
Hmm.
remember when we did it, um, everybody brought a six pack when they
Mm.
went. They brought a six pack to share. Now I know because it's going to be some, a very staunch people, but there's some NA beers out there too.
Yeah,
And I that would be something that I would say
I like that.
that really was really effective,
Mm.
because when you're sitting up having a conversation talking about, especially y'all have amazing can art, because we have great can art.
Hmm.
It's not no bullshit. It's great can art,
It's
and it tells a
beautiful.
story. Even if
Yeah.
they don't drink it, they can look at it and say, "Okay, this is something different. This is not just a pale ale. This is something different. This has some culture. This is about this family, the storytelling."
Yep.
And I that was really effective when we did it in Texas. It was
I
really
love that
effective.
idea. I really love that. I'm gonna take that
Mhm.
back. I think that's another way to kind of encourage folks to show some appreciation, like you're saying. And the fact that you mentioned something so important, there are lots of NA brands, and I feel like I think there's just a big learning curve, honestly, when it
Mhm.
comes to like not just beer, but craft beer specifically.
Yeah,
And teaching people and educating folks on what that really means. But yeah, it's so many different things that fall into that with non-alcoholic beers. So there is, I think, something for everybody in craft beer. It just feels
yeah.
like some people are committed to not not knowing.
They just want to fold their arms and say, "Mm-mm,
Yep,
no."
nope. Hmm.
So,
Exactly. It's wild. Do y'all have three-tier? Y'all have that kind of
no,
middleman thing? I don't
no,
think y'all do.
we have several that do self
Hmm.
distro.
Yeah.
Even the brewery that closed, they're in a
Hmm.
HEB, which is one of the big grocery stores.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so it's just like they closed, but now they have this contract with HEB, so they still, I don't know how they doing it, but they doing
That's
it.
great though. That is a really smart move. So we can folks can self-distribute here. It's just the limits. That's the problem here. But
Hmm.
we've had a number of closures as well, as you mentioned. Y'all are experiencing too. Us this is going around, but
Yeah.
a lot of those places are still a few. So the rumor is that a few of those breweries who have closed their doors are still going to distribute and do have accounts still at like the
Hmm.
grocery stores and such. So I hope we can still get some of those beers from the breweries that have closed. It's
Yeah.
been a good number of them in the last couple of years.
It was the one that I just recently saw. I think it's out of Atlanta. Thorn, no,
Oh,
Iron Hill.
Treehorn. Wait, one of the cideries.
Oh,
Oh, well,
okay.
yeah, them too. Iron Hill Brewery
Yeah, that's the
announced
one that I just said was
Friday.
like, and they
They're,
just barely opened, right?
they are maybe 2 years in the market.
Okay.
Just open. I think they have breweries other places up the East Coast, like in
Hmm.
Virginia and such. And then a cidery just announced today they were closing. A lot
Um,
of the issues that are happening here, besides it being an issue with the distribution and the bottom line there is people are not renewing their leases here in Atlanta because the rent is going up. The rates are
mm,
astronomical, and they are pricing a lot of people out, and a lot of breweries are
um,
choosing to not renew their lease, or they're
mhm.
being priced out because the landlord is getting a bigger offer from a developer to put condos or apartments there, and it's just better for their bottom line. And I mean, I know that's the kind of society that we live in, but
Yeah.
it's another worry. And like you mentioned, I have so many friends who want to open, and so I just pray that they don't get discouraged, because I can imagine
Mhm.
this would be a very discouraging time to kind of be weighing your options for opening a brewery.
Yeah, to see something close is like, um you're saying like there's a strip mall and it's completely closed.
Mhm.
There's, chains on the thing, and then there's this other place that's not opening up, and it's like trying to figure out, okay, so you must want a gazillion dollars for this space.
Mhm.
It's like in prime property, but they
Yep.
won't do anything with it.
Yeah, they're just letting it wet. They let it sit until someone with deep pockets comes and offers them a
Mhm.
whole lot of money.
So let
Yeah.
me switch gears for crafted for action. So how would you like to branch out for crafted for action? If there's something that you thought about long term, have you ever thought about taking it on the road? What are maybe some goals that you might that you can share?
Yeah. I have been thinking about that since the anniversary this last weekend. I really have been thinking about, okay, like what's next? Although I'm still digging in with this conference and trying to get this thing right, like what's on the horizon. And I would consider, I like Atlanta being a home base for the conference. I love this being the place for the full conference happening here every year. But I would consider, maybe like a workshop series that goes on the road to different places
Mhm.
throughout the years, like a symposia version of the conference, so like a 1 day situation in different cities. I could see that happening in the future. Um, I could see some travel. I've been talking to a travel agent to just trying to wrap my head around what it would take to do international travel. So to do tours, across the water.
Yeah.
Though that interests me a lot. I love to travel, and every time I travel, I'm going to a brewery. So just looking into that as well. And I don't know, like I love kind of where I see the conference going here in Atlanta, but I could really see it being like bigger. And I
Mhm.
know it will be because we're still in the infantile stages of it, but I could see it being like a really big draw. Um, I think what I am probably most concerned about is just growing smart and not doing anything too fast, too quickly. I'm very into building like infrastructure and making sure I test things. I feel like even the conference is still in like a pilot phase. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm really interested in just like these early years to me are like case study years where I'm just getting as much data as I can and figuring out like, after I get maybe 5 years of data, like what all this means and what my next step should be.
Is that coming from your background, from your day-to-day job?
Yeah. It's so
And can
nerdy.
you keep
I
up with
heard
some
myself saying it and I was like, girl, you so nerdy. Yes, it is.
that's but that's a good thing because it's just like, as I was saying, I feel like right now it's kind of like a woman show.
Yeah.
Um, you know, getting the guests, making sure doing the things. I'm getting help here and there. There's people that
Yeah.
are reaching out to me and it's like, helping, but how are you, you know, as you're thinking of this conglomerate of Crafted for Action, that you're, I guess, maybe touchstones
Mm,
to not get, besides yourself, how are you building that
mhm,
team?
mm. It's a good question, and something that I've always kind of had a challenge with doing is like delegating and relinquishing, the reins and whatever to my dream. But I've had a really good friend of mine, Chanel, who's been planning with me from the very beginning. She was a part of my Atlanta Beer Boutique days, along with that whole slew of volunteers I had back
Mhm.
then. But Chanel has been at my side for the last 4 years, and then this year, Swerve, who a lot of y'all know from Atlantucky, is a
Mhm.
big part of the team. He's been very instrumental. We've been meeting every 2 weeks for the last couple months, and it has been such a relief to have like other people to bounce my ideas off of and to, give me their ideas and to give me new ways of thinking about things. Like I know that this is something that I want to grow and that I want to be big, and I also know I can't do it by myself. And if I try
Mhm.
to do it by myself, it's not going to get any bigger than what it is now, because I don't even have the capacity. And all of us are doing this in our spare time, this side hustle life that we all are living, and
Mhm.
it's possible. It's possible, but I just feel like I know that for me to like get to where I want it to go, I'm gonna have to bring in more people. And what I think what I struggle with a lot within that, why it's difficult to me, is because I try to be very careful about taking people for granted or people feeling like I'm taking them for granted. So I'm
Mm,
always worried about, like, when people volunteer their time, it's because they actually want to be there. I have to remind myself that
yeah.
it's voluntary. But even within that, I'm always feeling like, well, how can I honor them? How can I show them respect and my thanks, my sincere gratitude? And so I
Mhm.
struggle with that, to be honest. But it's something I'm learning every day how to be better at. So I am so thankful for them. And then all the people who volunteer every year to be a part of the conference, to help behind the scenes. It's mostly the Atlanta folks who you've met several times when you've been
Yeah.
here. That crew, they step up, and those are my volunteers here. And I'm so thankful for the community that we have here, because it really does show that we're all kind of lifting each other up and helping each other on our own separate journeys together. 99% of us who are in craft beer in Atlanta who are Black, it's a side hustle for us. um
Right.
like, it's only a few who, like, that's their main job. So I know we're all doing this in our spare time, all trying to find the energy to do things. And so um
Hmm.
I'm just thankful for the community that I have to leverage, that who I can support, who I can lean on for support here.
Now
It's a
you,
it's a
you,
struggle.
well, I mean, it's, I think it's really important that um, when you are able to connect with someone that sees your vision or has a glimpse of, maybe not the full scope of it, but see where they can see where you're trying to go,
Mhm,
and they're wanting to assist you on your
mhm,
way. And I think that's really, really important. And for me, having a volunteer heart,
mhm.
volunteerism is really, really, it's like one of my, that's pretty much my heartbeat. Ever since I was
Yeah,
a little girl, I always wanted to volunteer for
that's sweet.
everything. So it's kind of like knowing that you have that mindset
Mm,
of appreciation for the volunteers, and knowing that I'm doing this because I want to be here, not because I gotta be. And it shouldn't feel, to me, it shouldn't feel like work. It should feel like it's something that just like, I'm doing something. I might be sweating and everything, but I know that I'm doing it for a common good, that it's
yeah.
it's it's doing something better for my community, better for myself.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's what makes it enjoyable.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
but I recall you saying that you were talking about vacationing, and I was like, that was one thing that I was looking at in your stories and everything. You work very hard, but you vacation even more.
I do.
How do you get that? Do you just wait to the beginning of the year? Do you already have something planned, like a couple of a year or so ago? How do you get that formula? Because it's just like, boop, I'm gone. It's
Yep. I've always kind of been like that, even before I worked this hard. I always had this thing where I was like, you know what, I'm going to take some time for myself. And I used to go on vacations by myself all the time. And my friends thought I was so weird initially, and then they were like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So I used to do that a lot. I think the most recent vacations that I've probably been posting have been because of my sister, who is a international, I'll say, international Pilates instructor, and she does retreats every year. For the past couple of years, this will be, I think, her fourth year doing international
mm,
retreats. So that's always on my schedule, always,
mm,
to go with her to her retreats and just see the world. And our mom is able to go with us on those, so those trips are really, really special to us. But yeah, I've always been like, you know what, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. And I try to go as close I can to my conference as possible. And this year I'll be going like the week after. The next week I'll be going
okay.
somewhere with some friends. But yeah, I've always kind of had that in my spirit to go, 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 whatever I can. Even
Is
if
there
it's close, you know what I'm saying? It don't have to be international, but
is there a destination that's on your bucket list that you haven't gotten to just yet?
yeah, I've never been to Africa, anywhere in
Okay.
Africa or the Middle East.
Hmm.
So I'd love to go to Istanbul. South Africa's on my list. Ghana.
Mm.
Yeah.
Think. Ghana, you might not come back.
That's what I heard. That's okay. I guess we're
I,
gonna careful
I'm
for
just like
asking Ghana.
a friend of mine. She went and she was that was when it was people working from home. It was kind of new for me,
Okay.
and she went, and then next thing I was just like, yeah, I'm I ain't uh tell your mom I'm not coming
I'm not
home.
coming back. Right. I ain't coming home.
She is married with a baby and everything else.
What? See,
It's
I'm
like,
telling you, man.
and she would go to Carnival, and then one time she
Okay.
just didn't she, she didn't come back.
She didn't
She
come
watched
back.
herself into her husband. Why she
I've
doing?
heard that about Ghana. I have heard that you will get hitched with the utmost quickness.
Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
just if I could go somewhere where I know that I'm appreciated. That's like,
Hello. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I probably need to go over there. I may not come back either.
right. It's like, oh, you nice and brown and chocolate. Like, oh yeah, I like
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
Who, me?
Who, me? That's how I feel when I'm in Jamaica sometimes too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Definitely that. Definitely that. Even
Like,
the
okay,
islands.
I could get used to this appreciation.
So let me see. I hopefully this is not going to be too rough. So I want you to name a style of a beer
Okay.
that resembles your triumph, challenge,
Mm.
and desire.
Ooh, Angie, a style, triumph, challenge, and desire. Ooh,
So that's three.
that is so good. Those are three separate beers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would say for my triumph because I see that as mm, that's an ongoing, that's a moving target for me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say not that it's hit or miss, but I definitely see that as like I see a triumph that if I look back, I can see triumphs, but I wonder what my future triumphs would be. So I'm gonna
Mm,
relate that to a beer that I have had a hit or miss relationship with. And that's gonna be probably lately an IPA.
okay. Okay.
IPA. But it's so much variety there and it's so much promise.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
used to love them, and I feel like I could get back there, but that I would say that's a good triumph one, just because it's like
Okay.
this, you know. But I could see it going up. My challenge. Oh gosh. Okay. Trying to be poetic, but I'm gonna relate that to. Hmm, I'm gonna say a spontaneously fermented sour
Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm.
because my challenges have been again, if I right retrospectively, because I feel like so I'm the
Yeah.
kind of person when I'm in stuff, I don't see it, but I can look back and see things.
Mm-hmm.
My challenges have been very, I would say almost spontaneous, like things that I didn't see coming
Okay.
and just kind of and funky, right? Just like
Mhm.
didn't see them coming, you know, but something that I've grown from, and that's the kind of beer that I probably maybe 10 years ago you couldn't have got me to drink that kind of beer. There's no
Okay.
way. I'd have smelled it and be like, nope, no, thank you. And then the last one was my desire.
Yes.
Oh, something sweet and delicious and super easy. So maybe hmm, like a stout that's maybe a
Ooh,
barley wine. I say a barley wine.
okay.
A
Okay.
barley wine, because they're or doppelbock, something that's like robust
Mm.
and sweet and thick and syrupy and just like
Mhm.
beautiful and delicious.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
one of my faves. Double
Yeah.
back. Yeah, that's
That's the That's a
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
That is a really good question. I love that question. I've
I
never
was
heard
I
that.
was I was laid back in the bed and I almost forgot it, and I was like, I think I should have wrote this down. I really had to think about it again, but it was like, you know, it's cobwebs are in her, but and the little mouse will be rolling around every once in a while. It'll come up with something good.
I gotta keep a sticky notepad by my bedside on my nightstands because I think of stuff like that in the middle of the night. Like if I don't write this down, it's gone.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it, but I was like, I'm gonna remember that because it's so interesting. I was like, it's interesting, and I was like, ooh.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, um, let's see. What should I absolutely expect when I come to Crafted for Action?
Man, okay. So, what you should expect. This year, like I said, this is, we're doing a lot of things that are very similar to what we did last year, but we have some new and exciting things that I'm really pumped up about. Um, the Crafted Fellows are back, which was so
Yeah.
exciting for me last year. This year we have six ventures, and 8 entrepreneurs total. I'm excited to see kind of what they're going to learn this year. We're going to do the pitch competition again, but we are looking to raise even more money for that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm
Mhm.
not saying exactly how much we have so far for that, but that's been such a surprise to me because it's been a part of the conference that I've really enjoyed a lot. And I don't know
Mhm.
if I saw that coming. I kind of patterned the fellows program after a program that I participated in here at Emory University at the business school. And it was just so resourceful for me. And I wanted to replicate it, but I didn't realize how much I was going to really enjoy it because that's the one thing related
Mhm.
to the conference that kind of carries beyond the conference dates
Mhm.
because we continue to meet in the fall and the winter. And so that's so exciting. I'm excited to bring that back. Um, we're also doing a community service project this year on Saturday
Oh,
morning with Brew
nice.
Gather. Brew Gather is
Okay.
founded by Andrea Janice and L. Sharpton. It is an organization that pairs local breweries with local farms and to create a
Ooh.
relationship between the two to resource each other. And we're going to do a farm cleanup and have a panel out at one of the local farms on Saturday. So I'm really excited about that. We've added a game night that's going to happen on Thursday at the same,
Ooh.
kind of overlapping a little bit with the Atlanta History Beer Dinner, because as you know, the beer dinner is exclusive. It's a smaller crowd. But for everyone who doesn't go there, they can participate in the Want to Play game night, which is an interactive game night hosted
Mhm.
by the Timeless Brands. And it's a fun, very fun um, uh, they just started relaunching their whole Want to Play concept, and it's a very interactive game. So they'll have board games and such that you can play, but the hosts are very much into experiential um, opportunities. So they'll have you dancing and hula
Mhm.
hooping and doing all kind of crazy stuff before the night is
Okay.
over. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to partnering with a business that's right across the street from Atlanta, because if you don't know, Atlanta is the home base for Crafted for Action, one of
Mhm.
2 Black-owned breweries in the state of Georgia. So we host our conference there. They have, since you've been there, Angie, they have converted that upstairs room into a restaurant. It's a pizza kitchen and a
Oh,
panini
nice.
bar and a salad. Yeah, so they have now a brew pub license because they make food
Oh,
upstairs. But since they do that, we don't have that space anymore. And we're going to
yeah. Okay.
use the bookstore next door, which is owned by 2 Black guys. I think they one or both went to Morehouse College, but it is a wellness and CBD store, but they also have meeting space. So they're going to let us kind of use that space right across the parking lot from Atlanta. So I'm excited about bridging a
Nice.
relationship between these 2 Black-owned
Yeah.
businesses and kind of giving them exposure as well. So I think the conference is going to have a different vibe this year, in that we're focusing on access and creating opportunity And so I think those kind of relationships, partnering with different organizations, is going to help us do that. So I'm really excited about it. And it's 60 days away, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Because,
Yeah, that
maybe
sounds jam
64,
packed.
64 days
64?
to be
Okay.
exact.
And tickets are still available.
Oh yeah, they are. They are, and it's a really good package. So we sell them in a VIP package or a general admission package, but you can also go in and just pick, mix and match whatever sessions you want. One more thing I didn't get to talk about that I'm
Mm.
super excited about this year that's new is a wine focus. So I have a friend who has a
Ooh.
company here called Vino Van ATL. Her name is Billy Harris. She does wine tours between Metro Atlanta to North Georgia, and she also added a new experience where she does city tours to different wineries and wine shops. Well, she's curating a track of wine content for us this year. So we'll have a winemaking class. We'll have a tasting class with her, a panel, and then they're also going to be represented at the Saturday camp out event with a wine tasting there as well. So bringing a wine focus is exciting to me because what I really see Crafted for Action is doing is looking at all craft beverages, not just beer. In fact, one of the fellows is a company called Crave. They are a ready to drink cocktail brand.
Mm.
I want to make opportunities for the craft beverage industry, and I feel like we can do that by slowly bringing in things like wine, kombucha, distilled spirits, hopefully, eventually. So I'm excited for those things as well. And I just want to shout out
Cool.
Billy at Vino Van for curating that content for us this year.
That is new. That's a
It
whole lot of
is.
different things that are. I'm telling y'all, that's from the very start because it seemed like it was like by the time it was time to go, it's like okay, I haven't done I've done so much, but now you're jamming it packed with different things and
I
different.
am.
It's like it's blooming.
Thank you. And I appreciate everyone who submitted panels this year and wanted to do workshops and such. This is one of those things where when we're doing this together, and I appreciate everyone who's thought enough of this concept and this idea to submit their idea and to be a part of it. It's a
Yeah,
big deal to me. It's a huge deal to me.
it's so wonderful because some like me, it's just like I know that I won't be able to make it, but having that virtual leg
That's right.
makes I'm still within the mix. I'm not on
Absolutely.
everything, but I'm in the mix somewhere. Even
You're
though half
right.
the people was telling me, "Oh, I thought you live here."
They people did think that you live in Atlanta. People did. I was like,
So
no, she lives. What are you talking about? She lives in Texas.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, one last thing I wanted, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about um, Craft Women Connect
Yes.
and that group of ladies. How do you know just approximately how many people are in the organization in the group?
If you look online in our private Facebook group, I think the last time I looked, it was about 500 women who were a part of
Mm,
that. Here in Atlanta locally, and because we don't do like chapters or anything like that, it's just kind of
okay.
do it on your own kind of thing. And we created the online platform during COVID as a way to stay connected, and then found that people were using it as a way to connect in different cities, which just happened organically. I'd say here in Atlanta, probably close to if everyone who was a part or had participated in any event with us came out, probably like 30 ladies, 30, 40 women of color. And it's
Hmm.
not only women of color. I think we created that initially because we would go to brewery events and I'd be the only person there. It'd be like me or Michelle and maybe two other people, and we were just thinking we can't be the only ones. So we did create it, out of the absence and the lack of women of color having a community to lean on and lean into. But we welcome all women, and anyone who's identifies as a woman is welcome to be a part of our group. So it's been beautiful. We had our final Venus collaboration, our Venus 3
I
collaboration
know.
with Reformation. Yeah, so we decided to just retire Venus as a goddess,
Okay.
and pivot and create something new in the future when we do collaborations. But it was
Mhm.
our third one. This one was really different from the previous ones. We did a rum. We used an espresso martini recipe to come up with this
Okay.
idea to do this beer. And so we took a stout and brewed a stout, added hazelnut and vanilla, aged it
Mm,
in rum barrels for a couple of months. It aged the whole winter. And then when it came out, took a local coffee roastery and some of their beans and added that to the roast. So it is a espresso martini inspired rum barrel aged stout. And it is, speaking of like 13%,
mm,
it's like 9.9 or 10%.
okay.
And
It's
we
enough
get it
for
in
me.
bottles this year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely was looking out, especially seeing Craft Women Connect and coffee. She was like, "You should do this here. You should do. We should have something like that." I said, "I can't do
How
that.
you gonna do all that? Right.
I was like, I can't possibly. How is that possible? How, you know?" And she's just like, "You know people," and I
Mm.
just kept on like, look at all the, seeing all these women getting together, drinking beer. And it's like, I want that. I want that for us.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that it did birth something. So we have it's Black Beer delegates, but in DFW, and we have T-shirts and whole 9 yards. It's a whole little kind of thing that we have, but the the heart of it is women. There's
Yeah.
so many. When I take the pictures, I saw all these women, and my heart just like,
Oh,
it
oh,
just it took me, and I was just like, I wouldn't have done it if I wouldn't have thought it possible if I wouldn't have seen Craft Women Connect.
oh, that
I
makes
just want
me
that.
feel. Oh, Angie.
But
That's
yeah, it really is. It's a tribute in seeing that
oh,
it is possible. So thank you
it
for letting me see
is.
that it is possible, and we have
Absolutely.
great people in that group.
I love that. I love that. That warms my heart for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've tortured you enough with questions.
This has been
I
so
think
fun. I love this new format, by the way. I love it.
good.
I think it's great. Do you like it so far?
I do like it. I still miss the clubhouse feels
Yeah.
as far as like the interaction and stuff,
Yeah.
but we had to pivot.
Hmm.
We needed to pivot, and this is giving a little bit more glitz and glam to having a, what I'm trying to present, which is being the NPR of craft beer.
I love it.
So this is what we had to do, and we're gonna keep on trucking along, trying to get this together.
Awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
love it. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you
having me here
for
today.
joining me. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
bigger and better things to come, and I can't wait to see all the pictures. I'm feel a little bit sad,
It's
but I'm like,
okay.
but
You busy
it,
this year. You busy, busy.
I gotta get on. I'm like, I gotta get on the Airbus on Friday.
Y'all have a great time
Yeah,
in Vegas, man.
it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice, and yeah,
You
that's what
have a few
my
trips to
last
make,
holiday.
don't you? You got a few stops. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, all
On your horizon.
that
Yeah.
whole week is between that and then Pink Boots, and then I'm gonna
Right.
do some other um go to other do some other festivals. Try to.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
love it. Well,
yeah,
thank you so much for always supporting Crafted for Action. I appreciate it.
absolutely,
I can't thank you enough. It means a lot.
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
all right.